Guard on this one pulls to go wide. When it's basic hook, you don't know what's going to happen out there. But on you, now you're looking for that. I want him to give it the whole full U treatment to tackle. You got it?
Yeah, I got it now.
All right, here we go. It's X, 39X on one.
Training camp would not yield any dividends, however, until the third game of the season, when the Browns won their first game, a 42-7 rout of the New Orleans Saints.
Let's go, defense! Come on, baby, let's go! Come on, Charlie, come with it now, come with it. Come late, come fast. Get through him. Way to hit him, defense. Way to go, baby.
It was against the Saints that the Browns first gelled as a unit, both on offense and defense, and showed they had the potential to capture the Century Division of the Eastern Conference. The secondary intercepted 4 passes, one of which looked like an 89-yard touchdown, until Ross Fietner ran out of gas. Leroy Kelly and Frank Ryan led an offense which amassed over 400 yards. Kelly began his quest for the NFL rushing title by gaining 120 yards, and Ryan threw for 3 touchdowns, 1 to set back Ernie Green and 2 to split end Paul Warfield. Cleveland's first win of the season was an impressive offensive show, but the offense would not lead the Browns through their next 3 games. It would be the defense. Cleveland's defense has always been known as a strong and stubborn unit. This tradition was upheld in 1967. Number 84 left end Paul Wiggin retired at the end of the season after 11 years in the league, and opposing runners were happy that he did. Wiggins' counterpart at defensive right end, number 80, Bill Glass, played his 10th year with the same aggressive spirit that he showed as a rookie. The Browns had a tandem at defensive tackle that ranked as one of the strongest in the league. Number 69, Jim Kinnicky, could do with his hands what it took most linemen to do with much more. At defensive left tackle, Walter Johnson, number 71, had his finest year in 1967. Only in his 3rd season, Johnson, like Kinnicky, had a special style of tackling, and it was punishing. Backing up the front line were a youngster and 2 veterans. Number 51, Dale Lindsey, played his first full season at middle linebacker. And John Brewer and Jim Houston at the corners provided veteran experience. Houston, number 82, is still fast and agile and could be seen on a blitz or in his own backfield covering on a pass. At right linebacker, Brewer, number 83, once again played a key role. This is Erich Barnes. Barnes, number 40, was the cornerstone of the Browns' last line of defense, their secondary. Barnes, number 34, Mike Howell, safeties Ernie Kellerman and Ross Fietner did not equal last year's league-leading interception total, but they, along with the rest of the defense, would carry Cleveland to 3 straight victories after its win over the Saints. The first of this trio of victories came at home on a Saturday night against the Steelers before 83,000 fans. The Browns defense held a strong Pittsburgh ground attack to 70 yards and intercepted 3 passes. while running back Ernie Green provided the offensive punch, gaining over 100 yards in the 21-10 victory. The next week against St. Louis, Frank Ryan and flanker Gary Collins gave the Browns an early 17-3 lead. But when the Cards closed to within a point late in the game, it was the defense that protected this victory and set up a field goal by the oldest player in football, 43-year-old Lou Groza, which iced the game 20-16. The last of these three victories was the most satisfying because it ended in a 24-0 shutout over the Bears, a rare accomplishment in pro football against any team. Again, Ryan and Collins provided the offense, but Johnson, Glass, and the rest of the defense were the real heroes, holding the Bears to a total of just over 100 yards and recording the Browns' first regular season shutout since 1960. Cleveland was now tied for the Century Division lead. There were other elements that helped comprise the Browns story, and the rookies had a major part. Number 35, Larry Conjar, played sparingly, but still was the team's third leading ground gainer. Blanton Collier's youth program was never more successful than in 1967, and two of the major reasons were Ben Davis and Carl Ward. Ward, number 27, a fourth-round draft pick, was on the specialty teams and filled in at defensive back. Davis, number 28, was the biggest surprise of all. Picked 439 and the last rookie to make an NFL team, he rewarded Cleveland by finishing first in the league in punt returns. Conjar, Ward, Davis, and other good young ball players give Cleveland more than a promise for future success. But it was veterans like number 13, 31-year-old quarterback Frank Ryan that comprised the bulk of Cleveland's attack. Ryan, battered and bruised for much of the season, nevertheless withstood the severe physical punishment. In fact, it was only in the last game of the season that he was able to rest from the Sunday wars and watch his understudy, Gary Lane, perform. Ryan's greatest asset was his ability to counter a rush with a quick flip to one of his backs. His receivers were also a great asset. Number 42, Paul Warfield, averaged 20 yards per catch and scored 8 touchdowns. In the Browns' first game against the Giants, his receptions kept Cleveland in contention until the final minutes. Number 41, Ralph Catfish Smith, responded well when called upon to replace Milt Morin at tight end for most of the season. Milt Morin, the Browns' second-year tight end, will be counted on heavily next year. Morin was out for the bulk of the season, but when he played, his presence was felt. Number 85, Clifton McNeil, was out most of the year. Number 86, Gary Collins, has been a top receiver in the league for many years. Collins has not lost any of his moves, nor has he lost the ability to catch almost anything thrown near him. The post pattern has become his trademark, and he still makes it impossible to defend. Collins and the rest of the receivers were another page in the Browns' story. However, Blanton Collier knew that if the Browns were to win their division, it would be their powerful ground game led by Leroy Kelly that would carry them. It was a ground game that for the third consecutive year and the fourth time in 5 years led the NFL in rushing. Number 48, Ernie Green, was one half of the reason that the Browns averaged nearly 5 yards every time they ran a play. In addition to gaining over 700 yards rushing, he was the team's leading receiver. Like his backfield partner, Green could crack up the middle with power or sweep the outside with balance and speed on his way to a touchdown. This is All-Pro Leroy Kelly, the premier runner in the National Football League. A sure blocker, number 44 could often be seen opening the way for a long run by Green, or returning a punt, which he did better than anyone in the league in 1966. But in 1967, Leroy Kelly was most often seen with the ball cradled in his arm, single-handedly demoralizing, if not demolishing, his opponent. He led the NFL in 3 rushing categories: most yards gained, highest average per rush, and most touchdowns scored. Some of his success must be attributed to the quickest start out of the backfield of any runner in the game. But most of it was not due to a matter of execution, rather to that undefinable instinct which is possessed by all truly great runners. And Leroy Kelly is certainly one of the greatest. Kelly and Green had one of the best offensive lines in front of them. John Wooten, Dick Shafrath, Gene Hickerson, and Monty Clark have a total of 37 years' experience and perform their jobs with machine-like precision, especially on the Browns' 2 basic rushing plays. On the first one, Wooten, Hickerson, and center Fred Hoagland seal off the right side, while setback Green leads Kelly through the hole. On the second, Hickerson, Wooten, and Shafrath pull out to lead Kelly around the outside, while Kelly does the rest by himself. It would be these men that would direct the Browns toward their goal in the second half of the 1967 season. Trouble developed en route to a division title. Cleveland ran into Green Bay's speedster Travis Williams, and Williams ran right through Cleveland. The loss to the Packers gave the Browns a 5-4 record, and they would need to win at least 3 of their remaining 5 games to clinch their division. The Browns got one of those victories against the Vikings. And it was Leroy Kelly who provided the margin of victory with 3 key runs in the last minute of the game. Again, it was Kelly who sparked Cleveland's offense against the Washington Redskins. As he did for much of the season, Kelly rushed for over 100 yards, and by this, the 11th week, had all but clinched the NFL rushing title. However, Sonny Jurgensen and Charlie Taylor continually kept the Redskins in the game. This contest was a wild offensive display. Number 27, rookie Carl Ward, joined a select list when he ran back a kickoff 104 yards, the longest play in Browns history. Frank Ryan to Paul Warfield touchdown ended the first half, with Cleveland ahead by 11 points. But what had been an explosive offensive show for most of the game abruptly changed in the final minutes of the last quarter. The Redskins trailed by 5 points and were driving for the winning score. It was 1st and 10 on the Browns' 25-yard line. On 3 consecutive downs, defensive plays like this one by Barnes forced Jurgensen into a 4th and 11 situation. And on what was to be the final play of the game, it was Bill Glass who dragged the Redskin quarterback to the ground to give Cleveland its crucial victory. The Browns next had to beat the Giants, their closest rivals, to stay in first place in their division. To stop New York, Cleveland had to stop the Giants' great receiver, number 45, Homer Jones. Not only was he stopped from scoring, but due to Erich Barnes' tight coverage, he rarely was thrown to for most of the afternoon. Leroy Kelly rushed for over 50 yards in the first half and the Browns' first touchdown. The second score and a 17-0 halftime lead was set up by Frank Ryan's scramble and a touchdown pass to Gary Collins. New York came back in the second half. Joe Morrison's extra effort made it 17-7. But again, the Browns' defense would rise to the occasion. In particular, the key play was provided by linebacker Jim Houston, who intercepted Tarkenton's pass and legged it 79 yards to the end zone and provided the Browns with a 24-7 lead. Too much for the Giants to overcome. Well over 600,000 fans had seen the Browns at home in 1967, and close to 80,000 had seen them victorious in this, their last home game. It now remained for Cleveland to beat the Cardinals at St. Louis to win the Century Division. Like all fierce rivalries, the Browns and Cardinals have a history of intense bruising battles. And in 1967, their final confrontation was no less than rough, all-out football. Paul Warfield's picturesque leaping catch gave Cleveland its only score of the half, and an interception by Erich Barnes set up one of 2 rows of field goals that made the score 13-9 going into the final quarter. However, for the second straight week, it was linebacker Jim Houston who provided the key play of the game when he intercepted Hart's pass and ran it into the end zone for a 20-9 lead. The Cardinals gamely fought back with time running out. But the Browns' prevent defense stopped Jackie Smith on the last play of the game, 18 yards short of the goal line. Cleveland had won the Century Division.
Hey, program. Souvenirs here. Hey, program. Yes, where you get the souvenirs?
One more chapter remained in the Browns' 1967 story, and unfortunately for Cleveland, it was not a happy ending.
Cushions out here, get us all saved.
The only thing Browns fans were to enjoy in the Eastern Conference Championship game against Dallas was the halftime entertainment. From the outset of the game, it was clear that one man would dominate play, and that one man was number 22, the Cowboys' Bob Hayes. There were, however, a few bright moments for Cleveland on an otherwise dismal day. Paul Warfield's 75-yard touchdown catch and run was one of them. And Milt Morin's 13-yard touchdown reception was another. But the final score was certainly not indicative of the Browns season, and these same 2 coaches could very easily meet again next year in Cleveland for the Eastern Conference Championship. 1967 was a successful year for Blanton Collier, the coach with one of the best lifetime records in the NFL. His defense finally gelled into a cohesive unit, but once again it was Cleveland's superior ground attack that led the way to a division title and should do so again in 1968.